Hashtag back again with another video. I hope you're doing well. Someone in the comments has asked me to do a video on how I manage my symptoms, so here we go. Just a warning before this, I just want to say that this is how I manage my symptoms, and in no way am I saying this is how you should manage your symptoms. Always consult your doctor, always ask them how to treat your symptoms best, because this is not the way to do it, especially if you have anaphylaxis, which I do not have as far as my knowledge goes and my diagnosis goes. So my treatments to my actual reactions are probably going to be a little bit different, although I'm definitely going to talk to my doctor about one of the most recent reactions I had that was more severe than any that I've had so far. So always talk to your doctor. Don't do what I'm doing just because it sounds good, if that makes sense. So in general, I manage my symptoms by controlling my diet. So if I start showing more symptoms, I tend to go back to the super basic strict elimination diet and strip out all flavor. So no garlic, no spring onions, no shallots, no chives, just salt and green beans and chickpeas. That's it. And when I'm typically having an episode where I'm reacting to a lot of things, I will still react to that bland meal. So once I stop reacting to the bland meal, I know that my body has reset again, and then I can I usually stay on the strict diet for a little longer as well, but then I can start adding in flavor again and being a little bit more liberal with my diet. But when I react, I tend to treat each symptom differently, depending on what it is. Most of the time, I'm just waiting for it to pass. I'll break down my symptoms into two categories. There's physical and then there's mental. So a lot of us can focus on the physical symptoms because they're easy, but there are actually a lot of mental symptoms that happen as well, which are a bit harder to deal with, and to be honest, some of them I haven't figured out how to deal with them yet. I'll just go through some of my physical symptoms. So the first one I get quite a lot is a slight tightening of the throat. So this is not as tightening like I can't breathe. I can still breathe, my throat just feels pretty tight. And to manage this, I take antihistamines until it stops feeling tight. So I'll take one antihistamine, and if it doesn't go away in 15 minutes, I'll take another one and then just wait. And just a warning of this is the case where this should not be done when you have anaphylaxis. You always need to have an EpiPen for anaphylaxis. But I don't have anaphylaxis, although the latest reaction I had made me question a little bit. The second common physical symptom I get is stabbing chest pains. I get this one almost as regularly as the tightening of the throat, and I will again take an antihistamine if it is bad. If it's a light, mild stabbing chest pain, I'll just wait for it to pass. I take Panadol if it's causing too much pain, but yeah, I mostly just wait it out. Nausea, sick in the depending on what I've had, sometimes it will be a little bit more, and will need to rest, lie down, sleep if I can, or vomit if I can. But most of the time I just wait it out, wait for it to pass. Something that doesn't happen as often as some of the others is food getting stuck, because I try and avoid foods which get stuck easy, like white rice and white rice noodles, and chicken and meats and whatever else gets stuck for me. Most cases, I'll just drink some water and try and wait for it to pass. Sometimes I'll try and vomit it back up. It hasn't been bad enough that I choke and I need to go to hospital to get it dislodged. It's always just a kind of uncomfortable, it's stuck, and I just wait like an hour or so for it to pass. Diarrhea. Well, I just don't eat that again. Now, for some of the mental symptoms, I get a lot of anxiety around eating and food in general. If I have been reacting a lot recently, I'll be more anxious towards eating food. I will be at a stage where everything is reacting with me and there's nothing that I can eat that won't cause me a reaction. So I get a lot of anxiety around that, and food in general. If people ask me to try things, I'm iffy about it. I only take food from people I trust that have cooked something. I don't just allow anyone to cook for me. The other thing I do is I meal prep, make sure I have lunches, make sure that I always have food wherever I go, if it's going to be at all questionable whether I'll be able to eat something there. Stressing about food when going out places kind of relates to the above. It's pretty stressful when people ask to go out somewhere because you're thinking about what the hell am I going to eat, because there's nothing I can just, eat easily, and asking wait staff at a restaurant, even chefs, can be a huge ordeal to try and get it right. I've been on cruises and they don't get it right for like 4 nights and I'm reacting. So for a restaurant to get it right on 1 night, hard. I always try and bring food wherever I go. Not eating or not wanting to eat because I've been reacting too much lately. This one's pretty straightforward. I just don't end up eating. If I don't feel like it, I don't eat. And it's not so bad to the point where I'm getting malnourished from it. Usually I would have eaten something. It's not to an unhealthy point. If it starts getting to an unhealthy point, you obviously need to see your doctor. The one thing that I've been really conscious of lately is how self-conscious I am about my food, particularly if I'm eating at work and one of my colleagues comes up to me and makes a comment on my food, which 100% of the time it happens. I usually try and eat at hours where people won't be in the kitchen so they can't comment on my food, because it's pretty off-putting when someone comes up to you and your diet is basically just green beans and chickpeas and they go, "Oh, I hate green beans." You're like, well, okay, because I have a choice. Or they're like, "Oh, that looks too healthy." Like, well, no, it's not actually, because I'm not getting all these other variety of foods I should be having. So it's hard to not be self-conscious about your food, and then to share food with friends when people make comments like that, it makes it really hard. So I still haven't figured that one out yet, but I noticed even with sharing my food, I don't like sharing my food because I know that people will complain about it. Last one I've written down here is getting sad or low about my diet restrictions. And this is another one I still haven't figured out how to deal with. It's not all the time, it's only sometimes. I'll either be reacting a lot or be really restricted in my diet, and I will get low about my restrictions and my reactions and wishing why did I have this? Why can't I just be normal, eat normal food that tastes good, and all that sort of stuff. But I guess this is where I start tossing my diet out the window and start eating mostly whatever I like. Then I react and the cycle repeats. I hope this video helped with a little bit of insight into how I manage my symptoms. Everyone is going to manage their symptoms differently. Everyone's going to have slightly different symptoms and causations for the symptoms. And again, I cannot stress enough, check with your doctor and ask them for what you should do. Some people have steroids. I do not. I was on a Flixotide puff for a bit, but swallowing the gas was too hard. It didn't make any sense to me, and it didn't really feel like that much of a benefit. I can mostly manage my diet, my symptoms through my diet and with what I'm eating. I'm just lazy, I guess, and I can get away with just managing it through my diet, so I don't take any additional medications or anything like that. If you have any comments, any suggestions, leave them below. I love to hear your stories, although all of them are so heartbreaking, but it's good to know that there are others out there and we all share the same struggle in different ways. If you have any suggestions for future videos that you would like to see. I have got a couple in my books, people newly diagnosed and that sort of thing, which should be good. So keep tuned, make sure you subscribe and click that little bell button, and go ahead and like the video if you got this far. That'd be great, and I hope to see you at the next one.